Hi Royals, welcome back to the Lifestyle by RNA. Today I'm going to share with you a new recipe that I just discovered, my style, the lifestyle recipe. So this is vegetable egg sauce or stew, whatever you want to call it. But hey, if you want to know it, watch the video to the end, don't skip. So these are my ingredients, and it was neatly chopped by my kid sister. So all I have to do was to come to the kitchen and start cooking. So if you've been watching my video, you know how I make my sauce. So that was the tomato sauce, and that was my spicy sauce, and frito, and inkitty. There was something called inkitty. People also call it rosemary. Yeah, I use it. And also my sardine over there, hiding right behind the frito. So guys, please make sure you drop your comment when you prepare this, and sure you prepare it well. I minimized the time in which it took, but it doesn't mean that it took 12 minutes. So when you're preparing, just make sure you keep it on fire for a while. So by starting, of course, you have to on your gas. So I on my gas just in case maybe there's water in the pan, it dries out before I pour my oil in the saucepan. That is my style, okay? So pour some amount of oil in my saucepan. I don't know why I picked a wooden spoon when I want to. So I start by adding my carrots. Yeah, that's what I start with, because if you're someone who doesn't really like carrots, but it's healthy for you to be using it in your food, you can start frying it so that it doesn't become too hard at the end of the cooking. But if you're someone who likes it, then I think you don't start with it. Maybe at the end of your sauce you can add it to it. And a bit of my onions. I didn't really start with my onions because I don't want my onion to burn, and I don't want too much of onion from the beginning. The onion is just to spice the beginning of the sauce or stew up. And then my sardine. If you're someone who doesn't really like sardine, or you're preparing it for someone who doesn't really like sardine, this process is for you, because when you fry the sardine from the beginning of with the vegetables, the person will not taste the oil in the sardine. Like if you say it in my local dialect, A9. Yeah, on say A9. Yeah, that's it. So you fry it and leave it on fire for a while. Please leave it on fire for a while. Okay, leave it on fire for like 2 to 3 minutes. The next step, I added my green pepper. The green pepper, you know, the big ones, yes. So when you add it in the saucepan and you stir it and you leave it on fire for a while, make sure the heat is minimized. Okay. So you keep stirring. Please don't go and sit in the room whilst the thing will be on fire, otherwise it will burn. Then I sprinkled out my chopped onions in it. So with the onions, I took out the seed and the water from the from my tomatoes, and we blended the seed and the water from the tomatoes. That was what you saw in the bowl. Whilst I'm doing my stew or sauce, I'm cooking my rice. Watch how I prepare my rice. So the rice, I was preparing just 3 cups. So I poured 2 cups of water in the silver, and then I poured my rice. As you can see, I'm stirring it. I think something fell in it and I was trying to remove it. Then you cover it and leave it for a while. Please, if you don't want your rice to burn, lower the gas. Also, back to the stew. You keep stirring and leave it for a while. And the next step was to add my salt. So the next step, I added my salt, and then I went back to the rice to stir, covered it, and came back to my sauce or stew to stir. You could see how it's already looking yummy. And then I poured my tomato sauce in it. The tomato sauce, I already told you how I came up with it. And then you stir and you leave it for 10 minutes, depending on the heat of your gas. If it's very low, 10 minutes. If it's very high, 3 minutes is okay. And you leave it for a while to build. I hope you guys are enjoying this recipe. Yeah. And if you've been watching my food recipe for a while, I'm not a type of Maggi. So if I'm adding Maggi to my stew, I normally divide it. So the half part was what I drop into the sauce, and I stirred the stew, and I left it for a while. So with that one, so I left it for like 2 minutes, and I came back again. So right now I'm just adding my cucumber. It's very, very healthy, especially if you are also on maintaining your weight journey like I. You shouldn't miss cucumber in your stew. Yeah, so cucumber, I added it to it. If you missed my video on how I reduce my belly fat and maintain my weight, then you can check it out, how I use the cucumber and lemon and water, how I prepare it and how I take it. Yeah, so then I added the remaining chopped tomatoes to the stew, and then a bit of the onions to the sauce, and then I stir. Before that too, I added my spring onions to it too. So these are basically my vegetable ingredient that I use for the sauce. You can go extra, but this was what I used in this particular recipe. And whilst the thing too was on fire, I prepared my eggs to down. My eggs was on standby, as you can see. So I added like three eggs to it. If you want more eggs, you can add maybe 4, but it shouldn't be too much because it's not egg stew. So there's a difference between egg stew and vegetable egg stew. It has to be balanced. Yeah, I didn't whisk it, so I just break it directly to the stew, and then I used my stew spoon to whisk it in the stew itself, and later I spread it out, and then I left it for a while, and then I came back to come and stir. Yeah, if you leave it for a while, it gives you the bubbles, and then I sprinkle my last salt. And then not too much salt. You should be mindful of your salt. Too much of everything is bad. So I sprinkle on some amount of salt for my final taste. And voila, you see, this food is done. I think if you increase the heat of your gas, you should be done with this food, with this preparing of this stew in less than 10 minutes. You should be done. Yeah, because I didn't really keep long. Honestly, I didn't keep long in the kitchen. It's because my gas is very high, so if I increase it, my vegetables will not take time to cook, and I don't want it to be overly cooked. You should be mindful of that one too. You want to maintain the vitamins in the vegetables. So back to the rice. I sprinkled some of my spring onions when the rice was almost done, plus onion. Did I add onion to it? Let's see whether I poured it onion. Okay, so as you can see, I was still adding more spring onions to the stew, and then I added cucumber to the rice too. Did I add cucumber to the rice? I did this video last month, so forgotten. Okay, so I added cucumber to the rice, and then I stirred the rice to mix it to be even. So like you guys can see, I'm stirring it for it to be even and for it to spread out well. Whoosh, this food was good. You guys have to really prepare this and come back to come and drop your feedback. I bet you will like it. You will like it. You will like it. So yes, my rice was almost done, and I left it. So that is basically it. If you've missed other episode of my food recipes, then please go back and go and watch all of them. They're all on the page. I was adding my last vegetable to the sauce, which was my onions, and the remaining I just added it to the rice. So with this one, the onions was last because I wanted it to be I just wanted it to be girl, like girl. Doesn't understand you. Like I wanted it to be crispy. Yeah, I wanted it to be crispy. So, so that's it. Voila, your salsa stew is ready. You can taste this with your boiled yam. You can take it with eba. Yeah, you can take it with eba. But I took it with my rice. You can take it with plantain, boiled plantain. So you see, this stew is 3 in 1, and I was just serving myself. So yes, that is the end for today's recipe, and I believe you guys enjoyed this video because I was just there and everything came in mind, and I decided to rush to the kitchen to put it together, and I did it, and it was great. I'm seeing the blessing in this pandemic because it has made me to increase in my food skill, and even my makeup art has upgraded. If you've been watching my makeup art on Instagram, especially on this Exquisite Touch by Ro, you can notice that the makeup skill has really upgraded. And even on the channel too, we keep upgrading, we keep learning because we want to serve you guys the best. We want to give the best. So enjoy. Bye.